Hello, hello. All right, it's working. And let me just send the link because I didn't plan on. I mean, I did, but I mean, like it. And then let me let me make sure my mic works. Hello. Did you know this mic? Let me send the link through to on Twitter, which really there's no point because Twitter just doesn't show your stuff. It doesn't show your links, which is like so corny. Well, this might be a bad time. Usually, I get people on already. I don't know. We're gonna see. Damn, looks like it's just me. I'm live. Link and last tweet. Damn, I think everybody going live tonight, so I'm just gonna have to get started because I don't want to be on long. I'm only gonna be on for a um. I'm only gonna be on for an hour. That's always my thing to just be on for an hour. I need this. Got just a few things to talk about. Okay, I have a second person. All right, just a few things to talk about. So we get started. Good evening and welcome to Casey Fellon Tonight. It's like, no, that's what Tucker says when he comes on. He'd be like, good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. That's a shame. We're never going to hear that again, but that's fine. Um, we have so anybody who watches the replay, you might as well just skip to like minute 5 by the time I get started. I was just trying to see if anybody else would come on, but I mean, I'll talk to myself on the camera for an hour. That's not a problem. I can definitely entertain myself. I used to do that a lot as a child. Anyway, so all right. So we have a few things to talk about because we are in an info war. So I wanted to make this go live tonight just to touch on a couple things and then get off the live. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody's having a good night. Next time I have to schedule my live, but I wasn't sure if I was gonna go live. Um, Let me stop looking at the eyeball on my StreamYard and just get started. All right, so this live is about the info war that we're in. Okay, so when Tucker Carlson was fired, I was live, and that's when I got the news. And then I made like quick videos, and then I never came back to have a real discussion about it. So this isn't just about Tucker Carlson was fired. This is about the info war that we're in. Alex Jones, of course, his show is called Info Wars, but I get it. Like I get it. It's not just now I'm realizing that we're in an info war, but obviously with them firing him, it definitely is a time in history that we're not going to forget. Um it, it it's a time in history that is it sets a time in a timeline that is going to ripple out into something else, um, because Tucker Carlson was the last person on cable news who was giving us as much of the truth as he possibly could. So, a little background on me. Um, my name is Casey, and like definitely before 2020, like 2017, 2018, I was on the left. I was definitely brainwashed on the left. So if somebody said, if somebody said racism, I was like, how high? Like that's how like that's how it felt. Like you could tell me not to do something because it was racist and I really you wouldn't do it, you know? So it's like this person, don't watch their show because they're racist. All right, I'm on it. I'm not watching. I'm gonna be loyal to the black community and not watch that show. And so that's how it was with Tucker Carlson. Like DL Hewley came on the his Instagram and he said straight up that Fox News was racist. Tucker Carlson, oh my God, how much you're racist. So I was like, well, I'm not gonna watch that channel. I didn't watch a whole network because of that. Okay, so talk about brainwash. And of course, 2020 came along and I got out the shackles of leftist brainwashing. And I started watching different things. I started watching YouTube channel, like stuff on YouTube. And then of course I started watching Tucker Carlson. I started watching Fox News. And I was like, oh, there's a black woman on this network. Like that's how naive I was. Harris Faulkner. And I was like, she's pretty good. How come nobody? I was like, how come I've never heard of her? How come nobody talks about her? Later on, I would realize that, because she's on that channel, she's not the black that we talk about, like that kind of thing. Anyway, so then finally one day I was like, let me just put on this Tucker Carlson. And he was telling news. Like he was talking about things that were going on in the country and different bills that were being written or like and he was scrutinizing Republicans and he was critical and everything. And I was like, this is different. I really feel like YouTube is suppressing me because by now somebody would have came on, but it's cool. I'll just keep talking. Um, I was like, like this is different. This actually feels like information. I was like, wow, I never got this much information from any network television at all. So it was straight up. So I continued to watch, and Tucker Carlson became a routine of mine every day, every weekday at 8 o'clock. Even if I didn't catch it at 8, let's say because I was at work driving home or something, I would, definitely catch the replay or sometimes I would put it on in the car as I was driving home, especially when I was travel nursing and stuff. So definitely was part of the routine. But I noticed towards the end, um, I felt like this would come because he said a lot of things that people aren't saying on the news. He said a lot of things where he almost sound like us on YouTube, almost. And he has a lot of different people on. He had Jimmy Dore on. I loved when he would put Jimmy Dore on his show because Jimmy Dore and him they're not of the same political leaning. Jimmy Dore is like socialist, like an actual the classic socialist type person. And that's not what Tucker is. And, but when it came to the war business and Julian Assange, Jimmy Dore actually, he actually changed his mind on Julian Assange. But when it came to certain topics, he gave him a chance to talk. I mean, and that's the thing. Even if he didn't agree with the person, he still gave them a chance to talk. And that was the only person doing that on the network television. Fox News has definitely shot themselves in the foot with that one because what happened was I was watching Fox News. I used to be in a house, like if I was off, I would just have it on the television and then it would like be on all day while I'm cleaning or something, like how the nursing home patients, they have Fox News on all day actually. So I would just have it on like as background stuff, just getting a little information here and there. And then, focusing at 8 o'clock and then watching Hannity and everything. What happened was when the Ukraine proxy war / hot war, okay, all right, we got some people coming on. When the Ukraine proxy / hot war came and I heard everybody else how they were talking about like Putin bad. And I was like, I feel like we need to assess this just a little bit better before. Like, why is this happening? How come we're all of a sudden all in on helping Ukraine with Russia, talking about sending money to Ukraine when at that point Joe Biden started to destroy our country? Like we were already in inflation, gas prices. If y'all go back and look at my catalog, I was like, our gas prices are going to skyrocket, and they did for a while. So I was like, what's up with this channel? But then there was only one person on the channel who's actually talking about the war in a critical assessing manner. You know, a lot of people didn't think that Putin was going to invade Ukraine. I did. You know, Tucker says he didn't think that that was going to happen. I said on my channel that he would. So I did get that right first. I just don't go to 3 million people every night, but whatever. But I'm struggling to get 4 people right now, but no, it's all good. But still, I liked that he was trying to really dig and figure out the information. And after that, I was like, I'm not watching the rest of Fox News because they started to get, I don't know, politically correct. And I was like, I'm not watching the rest of these shows on the channel. So I became a 7:59 to 8:59. You know, that was the only time I put it on. And it was to the point where I was like, I think I'm just gonna cancel my cable and I could pick it up on YouTube. I could pick up his show on YouTube for all that. So towards the end, I noticed he was talking about everything or anything. And I said, this isn't gonna last long. Oh, hey, Jeremy. Sorry I'm late. The Potato Man is on Timcast tonight. So I had already tuned in there since we don't get enough of him. Who's the Potato Man? I don't even know who that is. Thank you for coming through though. And I know if people like leave and everything, that's fine. Like I really picked a kind of funny time. I'm checking my time slots to see where I fit, where I could get views and everything. But so anyway, so I became 7:59 to 8:59, and now they've taken that out. So I'm not watching the channel at all. I don't need to be lied to. So the thing is, people want to hear the truth. People are tired of hearing the sugar-coated, convenient pieces and morsels of the truth. People are ready to hear the truth, raw and real, and that's why no matter how many labels they lobbed at him, he lasted as long as he did because he was real. So tonight, we're going to look at a couple of his clips, a few that I saw on Jimmy Dore that I thought were pretty good. And then we're also going to segue into what's going on in the conservative space with all the infighting. And then I want to read a couple articles to you. And I want to tell you about a House bill that's coming to Pennsylvania where I live and why people need to be paying attention and why we need to be focused on the inconvenient truth. So without further ado, oh, Seamus. Yeah, Seamus. Yeah, he hadn't been on for a while. Okay. He is a funny guy. He is. Thank you for coming through here too. Without further ado, let's just go ahead and get into it. Well, first I want to start with the fact that he did come on his Twitter and he made a little speech. So let's share it. Okay, so totally not what no, let me go to my bookmarks.
It's Tucker Carlson. One of the first things you realize. Good evening, it's Tucker Carlson. One of the first things you realize when you step outside the noise for a few days is how many genuinely nice people there are in this country. Kind and decent people, people who really care about what's true, and a bunch of hilarious people also, a lot of those. It's got to be the majority of the population, even now. So that's heartening. The other thing you notice when you take a little time off is how unbelievably stupid most of the debates you see on television are. They're completely irrelevant. They mean nothing. In 5 years, we won't even remember that we had them. Trust me, as someone who's participated. And yet at the same time, and this is the amazing thing, the undeniably big topics, the ones that will define our future, get virtually no discussion at all. War, civil liberties, emerging science, demographic change, corporate power, natural resources. When was the last time you heard a legitimate debate about any of those issues? It's been a long time. Debates like that are not permitted in American media. Both political parties and their donors have reached consensus on what benefits them, and they actively collude to shut down any conversation about it. Suddenly, the United States looks very much like a one-party state. That's a depressing realization, but it's not permanent. Our current orthodoxies won't last. They're brain dead. Nobody actually believes them. Hardly anyone's life is improved by them. This moment is too inherently ridiculous to continue, and so it won't. The people in charge know this. That's why they're hysterical and aggressive. They're afraid. They've given up persuasion. They're resorting to force. but it won't work. When honest people say what's true calmly and without embarrassment, they become powerful. At the same time, the liars who've been trying to silence them shrink and they become weaker. That's the iron law of the universe. True things prevail. Where can you still find Americans saying true things? There aren't many places left, but there are some, and that's enough. As long as you can hear the words, there is hope. See you soon.
I know that's right. Thank you, Tucker. Thank you. Let's take a look real quick at the thread. You know, everybody was had somebody put him. Did somebody? These memes are funny. Like they put Fox News shooting himself in the foot. I miss you, Tucker. Thank you for posting this around 8-ish p.m. Our night isn't the same. Michelle, you are so right. It's not the same. Without your humor and honesty, you and your family are in my heartfelt prayers. And I know you will be moving on to bigger and better things. Fox News doesn't deserve you or your loyalty, I guess, you know. And he said, see you soon. I can't wait. I seriously can't wait. I find it is exciting that to hear him say see you soon, because you know that he's going to come out with something that's going to be, this time he's going to say something raw, like it's going to be real. He's going to tell us everything that's going on. In the midst of it's so over, I found there was within me an invincible. We're so back. Yeah, I you know what? Siraj is probably trying to be funny with Siraj Hashimi. He's part of the Habibi Bros. I do listen to their live stream sometimes. He's probably trying to be funny a little bit with this, but it's actually true. Like, this is an exciting time. While we are in the info wars, like I'm calling it, it's like, you know, they got rid of the last mouth, like, truth teller on the mainstream media, but that they didn't shut him up. And AOC, she said it herself. She said, you know, but we're waiting to see when the monster's lurking and he's gonna come back up again. Absolutely, AOC, you didn't do anything. You didn't do anything. You didn't do anything. So he will be back, and I can't wait. And now he'll be, once he kind of releases himself, excuse me, once he kind of releases himself from that contract, because I think they still paying him, you know, he's left with pay, so he probably can't start anything right away, probably. Once he's released, oh man, we haven't seen anything yet. And that's the thing, when you try to stamp out the truth, it grows right back. It comes back even stronger and louder. You can't get rid of the truth. You simply can't. You can't. You know, and for me as a Christian, I use this example. You know, they crucified the truth on the cross, right? And 2,000 plus years later, we still talk about Jesus, right? So that's how I like to look at it. I'm you know, for me, I always use this example, and it's true. I'm not comparing, and before anybody gets hype, I'm not comparing Tucker Carlson to Jesus. I'm just saying the truth, though. That's what I'm comparing to. Okay, so okay now. So we'll stop sharing there. And then he said, not okay. Thank you, Jeremy. I'm really appreciating you helping me out. Not gonna lie, I don't know what Fox's plan was, but I definitely was a Tucker only fan. Yep, I'll follow him to the next place for sure. And yeah, and that's why he's smiling. That's why he's like, you know, when they saw him, he was out with his wife. He was like, yeah, I'm gonna have dinner with my wife. It's been years and da da da. And he knows he's not done yet, but he's going to enjoy his time and everything. But he knows. And that's, again, the thing about the truth. When people stand by the truth, I don't want to say like your flaws don't matter, but they just lobbed a bunch of labels at him, and they're not sticking, because people are waiting for him to come back and talk some more. That's the thing about the truth. It withstands everything. It does. The truth does. And Tucker does get things wrong sometimes. I don't need someone to be perfect, just honest. Absolutely, Jeremy. Because he said he says it on his show. He's like, you know, we got this wrong, or we got that wrong. He's the only one who does that. These other people, they get everything wrong on purpose, and they never come back and say, at least, like, you know what, we might have messed up a little bit. Like, they never do. And we're not talking about like, you know, get things wrong, like just, oh, hey, you know, we're having a regular talk show and we're giving you our opinions on stuff. No, we're talking about channels that are supposed to give you information so you can make decisions with your life. the Russiagate thing. Everybody was planting that around. Now, back then, I believed it, but it wasn't true. And they knew it wasn't true, or even the Hunter Biden laptop. We're not going to talk about that. No, it's Putin disinformation. But the minute I heard that, I'm like, y'all know it's not Putin dis. You see, they lie. But what this is, what happens now effectively, Tucker has joined us, independent content creators. And by that, I don't mean just YouTubers. I mean people who are writing articles or writing books about some sort of thing that might have happened in history to let us know what we're seeing today. Obviously, YouTube or anywhere independent, on websites, on like Rumble or wherever, independent content creators with news articles on Twitter, even with Twitter threads. We now have more of the responsibility on our backs, because there's not even one person who's going to do what he did, and it's okay, right? And then we should be excited. We should take our positions very seriously. I do, but I want to be better. I want to keep being better. There's a lot going on, and now the little bit that we were hearing from at 8:00, we're not going to hear it anymore. It's okay though. We'll still get the information, and it's our job is to bring it, to the rest of the people, to spread the message, to spread the truth, right? Okay. So I want to share a couple clips. When Jimmy Dore, on his show, he was talking about how Tucker left and everything, and I just, so we could see like what kind of person this was and why this had to happen.
I mean, here's that clip you're talking about. Here's Lee Fong reporting it. Tucker Carlson last week ripped Big Pharma spending hundreds of millions of dollars on TV ads and news outlets, routinely parroting drug industry talking points. Is there a single example of a CNN, MSNBC, or other Fox News host ever discussing TV advertising corruption?
No.
And here's what Tucker said.
And try this at home. Ask yourself, is any news organization you know of so corrupt that it's willing to hurt you on behalf of its biggest advertisers?
Wow.
Anyone who do that is obviously Pablo Escobar level corrupt and should not be trusted.
Wow.
What would that look like? That level of corruption.
Wow.
Well, imagine that the Trump administration had made it mandatory for American citizens to buy MyPillow. That's one of Fox News' biggest advertisers. Imagine the administration declared that if you didn't rush out and buy at least one MyPillow and then at least another booster pillow, you would not be allowed to eat out. You couldn't re-enter your own country. You couldn't have a paying job. MyPillow, they told you with a straight face, was the very linchpin of our country's public health system. Now imagine as they told you that Fox, as a news organization, endorsed it, amplified the government's message. Imagine if Fox News attacked anyone who refused to buy MyPillow as an ally of Russia, as an enemy of science. And then imagine that Fox kept up those libelous attacks even as evidence mounted that MyPillow caused heart attacks, fertility problems, and death. If Fox News did that, what would you think of Fox News? Would you trust us? Of course you wouldn't. You would know that we were liars. Thank heaven Fox News never did anything like that, but the other channels did. The other channels took hundreds of millions of dollars from big pharma companies, and then they shilled for their sketchy products on the air. And as they did that, they maligned anyone who was skeptical of those products. At the very least, this was a moral crime. It was disgusting, but it was universal. It happened across the American news media. They all did it. So at this point, the question isn't who in public life is corrupt, too many to count.
Who is it?
The question is, who is telling the truth?
Oh my God. No one. I didn't see this. No wonder they fired him. Are you kidding me?
So
He laid it out. He's giving the game away.
I mean, and Jimmy Dore is absolutely right. He did lay it out and gave the game away. Now, I like how he used Fox News as an example, but Fox News does take Pfizer money. Fox News didn't take it at 8:00. At 8:00, the advertisers did not advertise with Tucker Carlson, yet he still was like the highest paid. Yeah, because everybody was watching his show. but Fox News didn't, call people names for not taking the vaccine. I remember when Don Lemon was like, people, and it's a shame because they fired Don Lemon too. Don Lemon got fired. And, after 17 years, yes, on CNN, like we should feel like, wow, what's going on? That's a terrible thing. But the last like 4 years or 3 to 4 years, whatever, Don Lemon I don't know who he's been, I don't know who he's been. And when he made me the sickest was when he said, you know what, we're not coddling these people anymore. Okay, if you're not jabbed, you can't go to the hospital. You shouldn't be allowed in the hospital. You shouldn't be allowed to do XYZ, and you shouldn't be allowed to get treatment. You didn't want to get jabbed, so why should you get? And I'm like, listen to this guy on the news, and this is what he's saying. This is how he's talking to the American people. What do you know, first of all, about triaging anybody? You are not in the medical field. I don't ask people questions about what they, if I ask you your history, it's just to ask you your history, but it's not to judge you before I give you a treatment. Like, that's crazy. And for a gay man to say that, I thought that was even crazier. I'm like, bro, remember that when AIDS came out, and how gays were treated back then, and you could sit here and talk like this. I was in fear. I was like, I'm done with him. Not that I ever really watched him, right? So that's what I mean. That they were doing things like that. So then that's why when you get a Don Lemon who gets fired, he does not even get this. People are, thank God Tucker came and talked tonight, because I was like, we got to be careful that we don't treat this like a eulogy. The man is still alive and he's enjoying his life, right? But everybody was, sharing their pictures, and he was there for me when I first started, that kind of thing. And I was like, okay, we got to be careful. Let's reel it in a little bit, but I get it, because you feel like it's the end of an era, especially for the news, right? The last one, the news, that's it. This is like what they said when Phil Donahue apparently was telling the truth about the Iraq war and they fired him from MSNBC. It's like, but it's bigger than that. It is. And that's what's up, that Phil Donahue was trying to tell the truth. It's a shame. They don't want the truth, but they really don't want it now. But I want you to hear just a little bit more. Another clip that I saw, and then we're going to move on to a couple articles. Like I said, I'm only going to be on here for an hour.
So we are covering the firing of Tucker Carlson from Fox News. And here is a headline from a few years ago. Surprise, Tucker Carlson draws the most Democratic viewers in key demo, even topping Rachel Maddow. So not only was Tucker Carlson the top-rated cable news on the network, #War Machine, and it's true.
So this is a clip when he had Jimmy Dore on.
Tucker Carlson would bring on voices that you could not hear anywhere else on cable news. For example, Jimmy Dore.
We're the ones provoking this war, just like we provoked the war in Ukraine. We are now provoking a war with China. And who benefits? I'll tell you right now.
First of all, the Tucker Carlson face is just when he's
enemy is not China. Your enemy is not Russia. Your enemy is the military-industrial complex, which has been fleecing this country to the tunes of hundreds of billions and trillions of dollars. How many times are we going to have a defense secretary say, "Hey, we can't account for $2 trillion in the Pentagon again"? Which is what happened twice now in my lifetime. So
yeah, that does have we lost $2 trillion.
So again, people are being the war machine cannot be stopped. Who's running this country? The war machine. It certainly isn't Joe Biden making these decisions. I would like to know who is making the decisions. And I just want to remind everybody, the United States is the world's terrorist. We just set the Middle East on fire in the last 20 years. And now we're doing a proxy war in Ukraine, which we provoked, NATO provoked, and it was just admitted that we provoked it by the former prime minister of Germany. And now we're trying to saber rattle with China, and they're predicting a war. Again, China's not going to invade us. China's not our enemy. We might have an economic war. That's what these are. These are economic wars. These are wars in Ukraine. It's about liquefied natural gas and making sure Germany and Russia never come together, because we fear Russia's natural resources and manpower, and we fear them getting together with Germany with their technology and their capital. And so that's why we blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. That's why we're doing the Ukraine war. This is all about hegemony, imperialism, and economics. And if there's a Marine somewhere, it's there because they're about to steal some natural resources from another country. As everybody's screaming about what a bad guy Putin is for invading Ukraine, the United States is currently occupying a third of Syria. And which third is that? It's the third that has the oil. And how do I know we're there to steal their oil? Because the president of the United States said so.
We're not even benefiting economically. Of course, that's the rub. Jimmy Dore, appreciate it. Thank you.
So yeah, I mean,
wow, first of all, that was pretty good. And
I think you're about to get fired from Fox News.
I mean, as I'm watching that, honestly, I've forgotten all the things that I had said. It is
Jimmy Dore killed it on Tucker Carlson that day. Like, he didn't even take a breath, and he kept. So my best friend asked, "Wow, who is that?" He's spitting facts. That's Jimmy Dore. I've seen Jimmy Dore live. Jimmy Dore is hilarious, and he's smart. He's smart, especially even like when the Russiagate thing started. He was saying like on his show. I wish I was watching YouTube back then. Like, I wish I was involved with these kind of things back then. But on his show, he was like, "Yo, I know we want to get rid of Trump Democrats, but we need to stop this right now because we look silly." And he's like, "I'm a pothead in my garage, and I know that this is not true," you know? So anyway, but Jimmy Dore was killing. He spit mad facts. And the reason why Tucker had to give him the Tucker stare was because Tucker's been like hype about this whole like China's our enemy kind of talk. And listen, I'm not trying to live in China, but right now China's not on my back. You know who I feel on my back? The American government right now, the Biden administration. That's who I feel on my back. But anyway, so Jimmy Dore was like breaking it down like, "Yo, that's not your enemy." And you already heard the breakdown. And Tucker was like marinating like, you know what, he's probably right, because I have seen Tucker report like China's colonizing other places in Africa and South America. Yeah, they want China to come in because when China invests in them, they give them infrastructure or military bases. They don't bring, ideology to their countries. When you have Obama, who told Africa, we're going to hold back on the humanitarian aid in 2014, he told a country in Africa, we're going to hold back the humanitarian aid unless you get rid of your anti-LGBT whatever laws. Like, what type of stuff is that? Why is this so serious? Why is that important? So when you take American money, you have to take their ideology too. I mean, this is what we know now, what we didn't know before, But anyway, so he was breaking it down in Tucker Carlson. And what's up, Night Ronan? Oh, Night Ronan, make it want to. He was breaking it down all the way. And Jeremy, you're right. Obama, absolutely Obama. Matter of fact, I've been meant to show y'all like this video of Obama saying that he wished he could get, like, he always thought about getting a third term, by using like some sort of earpiece, like somebody else would be there, but he would be telling them what to do. And this is exactly what we're living in today. And yes, it is. It is. But anyway, so Jimmy Dore killed it that night, and he killed it. And what I like about Tucker is that he was taking it in. And so there's a couple more clips on here, when like he would have people on talking about even with the Russiagate. But hold on, there's a particular clip that I want y'all to see. So this is when they call him a Trump sycophant. How could he be? Listen to this.
Yep. Back when Trump's administration launched a coup in Venezuela, here's Anya Parmpil of the Gray Zone calling it out.
So what do you make of the news coverage of this?
Your viewers won't be shocked to hear this, Tucker, but the news media, the fake news media, are lying about the situation in Venezuela. Let me put it for you this way. Imagine if Hillary Clinton had refused to admit defeat after losing to President Trump in 2016 and banded together a group of 24 U.S. soldiers and attempted to take the White House by force. I don't think she'd be walking freely on the streets the way Juan Guaido is walking right now in Caracas. And I certainly think the news media would be calling it rightfully a coup. And let me just tell you, when it comes to what's happening on the ground there, I can tell you, I was there for a month earlier this year. The opposition has no popular support. Juan Guaido proved today once again that he will only ride in to power on the back of a U.S. tank. And what's more, we hear about a humanitarian crisis there, Tucker, but what we never hear is that is the intended result of U.S. sanctions, which have targeted Venezuela since 2015. Sanctions which, according to a report that was released just last week by the Center for Economic and Policy Research, has led to the deaths of 40,000 Venezuelans and will will lead to the deaths of thousands more if these sanctions aren't overturned. President Trump, if he truly cared about the American or the Venezuelan people and the American people for that matter, he would end this disastrous policy. He would end the sanctions, and he would look into John Bolton's eyes, into Elliot Abrams' eyes, and Mike Pompeo's eyes and say, you are fired. You are leading me down a disastrous path, another war for oil, something the president said.
You are passionate.
He was celebrated by the American people when he said Iraq was a mistake, and now he's willing to do it again.
But it is a bipartisan thing. I mean, Biden came out today and said he had raised.
Absolutely, it is a bipartisan issue.
So, it's interesting. It would be interesting to know why that is. I believe in an open debate.
Was this 2016?
I'm not sure I agree with everything
2017?
you said, but I'm glad that you could say it here. And you were just there, and I don't think you'd be allowed at any other show to say that.
No, I certainly don't.
You wouldn't.
And so you see that, like, she wouldn't have been allowed to say that on any other show. When it comes to war, it's always a bipartisan thing. Just so you know, what's up, Justin? Thank you for coming through. Just so you know, when you hear something bipartisan is happening in Congress, understand that we are royally screwed. There's a special ass whooping that they're getting ready to give us. Understand that, you know what I mean? Or like if you hear, no, it's always about war. It is. And that's why this China thing, that's why, like, all right, Democrats have their Ukraine war right now. And I'm kind of segueing a little bit into other stuff, but this stuff is important, right? And this was the only person on network television who was going to talk about it the same way how us independent content creators would talk about it, right? And yes, Night Roland, Tucker Unleashed is going to be amazing. Plus, he has the backing to get way more information than I can right now. But, so anyway, when the Democrats have their Ukraine war, but understand once that's over, the Republicans are ready for this China war. That's why they constantly saying China fentanyl. China keeps sending their fentanyl here to kill us. China keeps saying no. Even if the fentanyl is coming from China, our borders are not secure. That's us. We are supposed to protect our borders. We're not protecting our borders, and then we have our own issues. We're not, we are not prosecuting law appropriately so that people can get the help they need if they have drug issues or whatever. That's our problem. Even if somebody is doing something bad over there and trying to lob it over here, you're supposed to be able to protect your own people. It's not about going to war with China just because they make fentanyl and whatever. And I don't know even that the president of China is trying to really send that over here. We're going to ban TikTok. All of a sudden it was a bipartisan thing to ban TikTok. Oh, because China bad. No, because they don't want you to get information. And for a moment, TikTok was very uncensored, but now they're censoring TikTok now. Okay. So anyway, I want y'all to see, this is the clip though for me, because my bad, when I said he wasn't a Trump sycophant, Trump had bombed Syria. And I remember when that happened, and the only person who gave him a hard time was his supposed number one
Jimmy
fan.
Dore covers it. We cover it at the Gray Zone. Only a few others, but otherwise totally censored. But Tucker Carlson did, and he gave it a really big airing multiple times. This is an example.
In April of 2018, there was one of those rare moments of total bipartisan consensus that ought to make you very nervous. Everybody, Democrats and Republicans, political operatives.
Yes, it ought to make you very nervous. Yes.
The investigative journalists you see on TV, they were all in total agreement on one point. The United States needed to bomb Syria immediately. We needed to hate Syria.
Hold up, real quick. This has nothing to do with. Why is Justin? You shout that guy's Knight's government all the time. I didn't know that. So that's his name. You is that like your cousin or something? I heard you call him by his first name. I'm like, who's Philip? All right, go ahead.
Syria and its leader, President Bashar al-Assad. Now, they never quite explained why he was so bad.
I know.
But in April of 2018, they gave us a hint. They told us Assad had targeted his own people with chemical weapons, including chlorine. And for that, we were assured, the United States, along with a coalition of the willing, needed to punish Syria. Now, we raised doubts, obvious ones, about that story at the time. For one thing, there was no evidence that a chlorine gas attack had actually happened. None. At the Pentagon, the defense secretary claimed that there were, quote, a lot of media and social media indicators that either chlorine or sarin was used. Wait a minute, we said media and social media indicators? You're the military. Shouldn't you have actual evidence before we bomb a sovereign country? Shouldn't we at least know that they committed the crime we're killing?
You see how they lie to you? They say the social media indicates that they use such and such chemical. What? So we're gonna bomb them because of that?
Number 4, days after the alleged poison gas attack, we asked that same question on the show. Before we go to war, are we sure all of this is real? Do we really know that Assad was behind the gas attack? It's not a defense of Assad, but it's an obvious question. How could we know that conclusively so soon after the attack happened? So you're not supposed to ask questions like that, super obvious ones like, do we know this really happened? For the crime of asking that question, pretty much every media organization in the country followed the Pentagon's orders and tried to shut us down. Jen Rubin of the Washington Post wrote this, quote, "He is insane reading this show. Fox News is not a news organization. That is all." Noah Rothman of Commentary called this show nothing less than undiluted Russian propaganda. You're defending.
That laugh is something psychotic. All right.
Assad, who, by the way, saved a huge numbers of Christians in Syria, but we're not allowed to care about that or think it's significant. Anyway, that was the media climate on April 14th, 2018, when the U.S., along with France and the U.K., bombed Syria. Now, a year later, in March of 2019, the world's chemical weapons watchdog weighed in. According to a final report from the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, there were, quote, reasonable grounds to conclude that, quote, the use of a toxic chemical as a weapon took place. Now, the Pentagon claimed that that report vindicated their decision to kill people in Syria, something they would go on to do quite a bit more in the future, including just recently under this new administration. But 2 OPCW investigators who went to Syria, Ian Henderson and Brendan Whelan, objected to that initial report. Now, according to the Courage Foundation, an organization that represents whistleblowers, several former OPCW investigators and high-level officials, and this is fascinating, are calling its conclusions invalid. Specifically, they're alleging that the investigation was scientifically biased, that it was improper, and that it was unethical.
You see? So we bombed this place based on social media influencers or whatever killing people. And for what? Something that wasn't even true. Yes, Jeremy, throw one in for yeah, like this is, I mean, like even they do this constantly. When you find out what your establishment does in other countries, it's very disheartening because it goes against everything that America stands for. To just bomb, like to cause conflict. Anytime you hear there is a crisis in a country, there's some sort of rioting manifestations happening in a country like Sudan right now, you better believe that the American government is behind it. Absolutely. A color revolution. We did one here too in 2020, by the way. We did one here too. I can't breathe George Floyd. Anyway, so this is what they do. Nobody else was talking like this except for the Tucker Carlson, right? He used to have Aaron Mate on, everybody on, because he just wanted to get down to the truth, right? None of us are perfect. Okay, that's a good explanation. Okay, so you know him as Philip. Okay, that's funny though. That's cool. So that's what's not going to be on network television anymore. So we got to pick up the mantle. That's all. We'll be okay. Like I said, it's an exciting time. It is. It's time for everybody to, I'm not saying like, oh, everybody has to now make news about, make a channel about the news. No, but it's just people are going to theme now for originality. They're already doing it. People are getting, even in entertainment, right? People are getting bored with the same old movies. Marvel movies can't even like break certain amounts of money. I used to be at the theater on Thursday night to see a new Marvel movie, and now you can't. People aren't doing that no more. It's because it's the same old template, the same old lies, the same old. So people are ready for something original. They're ready for something new, the truth. So, like I said, this is exciting. This is an exciting time, but it is a step in the culture war. It definitely is. See, Harry Towan says he's tired of Marvel movies. Yeah, can you imagine? I never thought anybody would say that. So, to end off this Tucker commentary thing that I seem to be doing, I want to play just 2 minutes from the last speech that he did, and because it was pretty important. And like I said, I'm not gonna be on here too long, but because I also want to tell you, like, just stick with me who's on here, because I need to show you all this bill that is coming in Pennsylvania. It is absolutely extraordinary. When they say that you are obsessed with the trans community, no, there's a reason. Okay.
Outcomes, what you're really advocating for is evil. That's
So he was talking about the difference between good and evil.
just true. I'm not calling for a religious war, far from it. I'm merely calling for an acknowledgement of what we're watching, which is not what, and I'm not certainly not backing the Republican.
So he said in the speech, he was like, you know, back in the day when I first started working at Heritage, we would have like not a crisis, like a situation that needed to be resolved. We would write our papers, write our policies, and debate the facts and see which one was the best. He said today it's not like that. The issues that we're dealing with today, and he went into pronouns and everything. He was like, you can't just debate facts on it. He was like, no, you have to really, like, because he's like, I tried to bring the facts to people. It doesn't work. These people, they don't want to debate. You know, they don't want to debate. And so we're dealing with something different. But
Party. I mean, ugh. I'm not making a partisan point at all. I'm just noting what's super obvious. Like, those of us who are in our mid-50s are caught in the past in the way that we think about this. One side's like, no, you know, I've got this idea and we've got this idea and let's have a debate about our ideas. They don't want a debate. Those ideas won't produce outcomes that any rational person would want under any circumstances. Those are manifestations of some larger force acting upon us. It's just so obvious.
you hear that, right?
It's completely obvious. And I think two things. One, we should say that and stop engaging in these totally fraudulent debates where we are using the terms that we used in 1991 when I started at Heritage, as if maybe, you know, I could just win the debate if I marshaled more facts. I've tried that, doesn't work. And two, maybe we should all take just like 10 minutes a day to say a prayer about it. I'm serious. Like, why not? And I'm saying that to you, not as some kind of evangelist. I'm literally saying that to you as an Episcopalian, the Samaritans of our time. I'm coming to you from the most humble and lowly theological position you can. I'm literally an Episcopalian, okay? And even I have concluded it might be worth taking just 10 minutes out of your busy schedule to say a prayer for the future. And I hope you will.
And give him his clap. You know, that's why this thing feels very, you know, this whole situation feels like, I don't know, it has a feeling to it, it's a vibe to it. Jeremy, please don't ever feel bad about, please. I love the chat right now. I love, you know what I mean? You can write and talk as much as you want. It keeps me going. Okay. So you see that, right? You see that, right? Tucker Carlson was like, when he first started, bow tie wearing, like, what they say. Oh, they said that we got to go to war in Iraq. I'm cool. Whatever they tell me. Yes. And he's been on so long and seeing where this country is going, seeing what's happening to the children in this country, you know, to lost souls in this country, and that don't want to do the work on themselves. They are worth the work. They are worth living to their full potential. But instead, they put on you know, you got men out here putting on a dress and saying that they're a woman and then getting praised. You know, they rather do that. That's not a policy scientific kind of thing. You know, it really is something out here that's grabbing them and making them do this. He even feels it, you know, as like vanilla as he kind of, you know, used to be. He feels it. This is real. This is real. And, you know, well, let me show you guys this, you know, hold up. Let me show y'all this bill. Freaked me out when I saw this bill. Hold on. Absolutely freaked me out. All right, let me see. Tucker likes fly fishing. He does like fly fishing. Share the screen. This is from PA Family was talking about this bill. House Bill, all right, let me see if I can, I'll share it here, share to this tab. House Bill 300 would amend Pennsylvania's Human Relations Act to add explicit statutory protections from discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity expression. The PHRA currently protects people from discrimination based on race, color, religion, ancestry, age, sex, national origin, disability. Today, any LGBTQ Pennsylvanians who face discrimination in employment, housing, or public accommodations has resource by filing whatever. Federal law also protects excuse me. House Bill 300 is still critically necessary because it would ensure that protection from discrimination against LGBTQ people is enshrined into Pennsylvania law. Let me tell you something about what they keep trying to enshrine these laws, right? So hold on. So it would be called the Fairness Act. It would be called the Fairness Act to make sure that there's no discrimination for LGBTQ Pennsylvanians and everything. So these articles that I'm reading to you guys are definitely left-leaning because they're very sugarcoating and making it sweet. You know what they're talking about? Like, we just don't want to discriminate, right? But we already have laws about that. But we need to enshrine something about fairness. This is diabolical. So PA Family is a conservative site, and they talk about it. So we'll PA House Democrats to vote to pass harmful bill impacting schools, workplace, and women's spaces. Everyone should be treated with dignity and respect. Rep. Kenyatta's House Bill 300 would harm good people. All right, Today, only days after its introduction and without public hearings, Democrats in Pennsylvania House Judiciary Committee voted to advance Rep. Malcolm Kenyatta's House Bill 300. This bill would subject Pennsylvania families, businesses, and professionals to numerous harms, including allowing men in women-only spaces like locker rooms and bathrooms, and lead to sanctions against religious entities that adhere to longstanding convictions. Shockingly, in a party line vote, and reportedly at the behest of the ACLU, as usual, the committee voted to remove some of the limited protection language for religious schools, including the original bill. So I'm trying to get into the part of the bill where, all right, so the Democrats on the committee vote gutted the right of churches and religious schools to hire all employees that share their religious beliefs about sexuality and give a new cause to action to sue churches and schools. Those supporting this bill are listening to more special interest groups over the people of Pennsylvania. So, like, let's say there's a 7 days Adventist school, and they say we're not hiring trans teachers because we believe that God made man and woman. Oh, now that trans person could just go ahead and sue the organization. They could sue the church for not making them an elder in the church. This is crazy. This bill has not passed, but it will pass because Pennsylvania is majority Democrat in the legislature. Okay. And our new Democratic governor, Josh Shapiro, says he can't wait for the bill to get to his desk. He's ready to sign it. We're not done yet, though. Hold on. So laws like Kenyatta's House Bill have been used to erase safety and privacy rights by forcing compliance to allow men into women-only spaces such as restrooms, locker rooms, shelters, and athletics. You hear this? These harmful laws have been used to punish religious ministries, schools who hire based on their shared mission. Additional harms would extend to our healthcare system. Here we go. Such as forcing doctors to perform double mastectomies or hysterectomies on healthy girls, even if it goes against their diagnosis and convictions. Do you hear that? Okay. This bill will force Pennsylvanians to conform to a political viewpoint that forces women and girls to give up their private spaces to men, as well as removing a safe and equal playing field in school athletics. All right. So this type of law has been used to shut down Christian foster care, yes, and adoption agencies when such agencies remain true to their religious convictions about marriage and continue their practice of placing children in homes with married mother and father. The city of Philadelphia targeted Catholic charities, ending their foster care and adoption ministry in a city based on Philadelphia's SOGI law, which now I need to go ahead and find out what that is, the PA, hold on a second. Everyone deserves to be treated with dignity and respect, yet this bill will force every individual and organization to conform to the state's view of marriage and sexuality and punish those with sincerely held beliefs that differ. We should be free to think, work, and live according to our beliefs. It is hypocritical to treat people who believe marriage is between man and a woman as lawbreakers in the name of tolerance. In a pluralistic society, we should always preserve space for differences without punishing those whom we disagree. Do you see? So anti-discrimination laws are supposed to be the shields from invidious discrimination, not swords to be opposite, hurting good people and ministries. Okay, so do you see how quickly it's become that the normal thinking person is now the minority in the situation? Do you see how quickly it's become that if you believe that marriage is between a man and a woman, or that there's only man and women, or that you cannot change genders and stuff like that, do you see how quickly you have now, you will effectively be a criminal for thinking that way? And you might as well call me criminal number one, because you'll never get me to think anything differently. Absolutely not. Do you see? It is imperative that we stand for the truth. We are in an info war. These people are going to pass this bill, so effectively saying that if I say there's man and woman, somebody could come and sue me. They can come and say something about me. They can destroy my life, but you'll never destroy me, okay? Because I'm covered by God. No, I will not lie for you. I will not lie to the Lord for you. Like, this is how it makes me feel. Yes, it does, because effectively they write the legislation and it makes your blood boil. It does, because it will pass, right? So now me working in the healthcare system, maybe I say, I call a man, maybe I call a man, and he thinks he's a woman, and then I got to lose my livelihood for this. Forget that. If the doctor doesn't chop off the breast of a perfectly healthy 14-year-old, they can lose their license for this. But when they enshrine this stuff, it's about, when they say we got to enshrine it and say that marriage, so we protect the trans, we protect this community. This is not even just for that. It goes deeper. Remember, it is discrimination law, right? So they can say, if you say something about my marriage, you're discriminating against me. Well, how far does this go? How far does this go? Because when they did the Marriage Act, it said 2 people. It didn't say the age of the people. This is the next step to, you already know. I'm going to share this article with you guys. We're coming to the end here. This is no joke here, I just turned on my MSN. And that's what the heck is going on. Youth attracted persons movement causing civil war among the LGBT plus community. No. There's no civil war. You guys are making this up, because here's the thing. This is technically not a thing. What they're doing by writing this is shining a light to the fact that there is a group of criminals who want to sleep with kids. And then we give them names like youth attracted persons. That's a criminal. Okay? Man, like, the woke world is seemingly heading towards a concerning direction. We're already there. Apparently, Twitter user recently states that they're celebrating YAP, which is short for youth attracted persons, and many are not happy with it. Twitter users went on a crusade against the user for even creating a flag. Yes, I did hear about this on Twitter. I did, but this is not what's called they created a flag for this and everything. I mean, this, I'm not going to even read all the way into the whole thing. I want y'all to see. Let me see. So this is supposed to be Gays Against Groomers, and they said new flag and orientation just dropped. Meet the YAP community, right? So this is supposed to be their flag, This is supposed to be Happy Alice Day to those we celebrate. I figured why not use today to unveil the YAP pride flag design almost a year ago. I wanted to stray from the off. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Okay. Yeah. So that's what's going on. But this person is writing this and trying to say like, oh, there's a civil war. No. There is no civil war. There's no civil war here. What this is a crime, and it should be treated as such. We are not going to normalize. How long until we do? Well, whatever goes on in there, there's this thought that we are not evil. These people are consumed by evil. Yes, they are. And it needs to be stamped out. That's enough is enough. Okay. Because this is thought. Well, whatever they do in their home, as long as it stays there, then, we just need to live and let. People don't live in their homes 24 hours a day. They get in a car and they drive somewhere. And then I got to see the weird stuff with my kid. Right. Now I got to explain something to my child. Right. Okay. This YAP thing, it's criminals. That's what it is. Okay. So, I have one more article. Hold on a second, because Dwayne Wade, who is disgusting to me, I'm almost done. I'm almost done. I just want to read this last article, and I'm out. Dwayne Wade says he and his family moved from Florida because they were not accepted. That's a lie. That is an absolute lie. Citing anti-trans discrimination against daughter. I'm not even going to finish that because that is not a daughter. Ex-Miami star Dwayne Wade recently explains why he and his family left Florida in 2021. Wade and his family, including his 15-year-old whatever, did not feel comfortable despite good memories. He said anti-LGBT laws made him feel out of place in Florida. Wade said that he has good memories, but he decided to relocate. Where did he go? Where did he go? California? Where did he go? I guess it doesn't say. I don't know where he went. I really kind of don't even care. Because they passed laws in Florida that restrict this mutilation for kids. So what happened? You took your son to California, and what you gonna do? Let him play himself out in California and let him do surgeries that he doesn't need to be doing? Dwayne Wade is a disgusting person. He is a simp. He is he's a waste of testosterone. He absolutely is. Yes, he is, because he let that woman make him go off and allowed his son to be in this kind of situation. Okay, so Jeremy says, you guys have to. I just can't even believe that this is where we're at. The woke movement winding up winding up here was predicted by many people down to the years since the turn of the millennium. Obergefell versus Hodges happened the same year as Call Me Caitlin. Oh, I'll look at that one. But I've heard it said that, and I heard a gay man say this, but I watched Disaffected podcast because Josh Slocum is about as real can get, because he doesn't let his lifestyle or whatever. It probably is solid. I just, but he doesn't let his life get in the way of the truth. And Josh Slocum said that there should have never been. They shouldn't have legalized gay marriage. He said it should have been called something else, civil union, something where, assets could be protected, but it should not have been called gay marriage. And he is absolutely right. He's absolutely right, because you get the inch and it keeps on going. It keeps on going. It keeps on going, And he's right. Now I can't say like, oh, this is the beginning start of everything. Like I'm not going to say that. Because I'm just, there's a few things that got us here, but we're here. So what do we do? So here's the wrap up. I was listening to I do listen to Nick Fuentes sometimes. I do. I don't know why. This is like some big thing now. I mean, it's starting to get lame. And he said yesterday, he said something. He said the only way we get like by this situation, like everything that's going on with like how they're trying to control us and with all this trans stuff and everything. Thank thank you, Harry. He said, the only way we fix this is to go through it. He was like, we can't go around it. We can't hide from. We have to go through. And he's absolutely right. We need to meet it head on. We do. We do. We need to be vocal. We need to be sharing information with people. We need to do our part. And now this doesn't mean everybody go hit. Like I said, I'm not saying everybody, now you got to make a channel now. I'm not saying that. I'm saying even if you drop nuggets to people who don't know what's going on, if you believe and if you know what the truth is and you know that there's no breaking the truth, like men are men or women are women, and children should not be consenting to mutilation and things like that. You stand firm by it and you stand for the truth. You defend it, even when asked about it. I'm not saying to go around and just start yelling in people's faces, but if somebody asks you, like, I mean, what's the big deal? I mean, so what? Yeah, trans men, they have their menstruation too. If you know that's a lie, if you know that doesn't make sense, it is your duty to say, that's not true. That's a biological woman. It is. It is. It is. And I know what that sounds like. Like, hey, listen, people could lose their jobs. I get it. I do know. I know I have to go to work, but I can't. What is going to happen? What kind of world are we going to live in? It's going to be to the point where we're going to have to fight to say that the leaves are green. I heard somebody say that, and then it's getting there. They're pushing a lot of things, and this is all, like Jeremy says, it's never an accident. This stuff was openly discussed for years by the people who wanted it. yeah, it was. But that's why I said we in an info war, but we got this, and we will be okay. I always go back to that, but I wanted to come through and make my and drop off, my real discussion about how I felt about this Tucker Carlson situation and what happened with him, and also give out some information about what all states are doing, because these legislations too, by the way, like they start off in California and then they make their way nationwide. Okay, nationwide. Just that's where gay marriage started, was in California, and then it became nationwide. So there will come a time where they'll say, like, that law also says, like, if you don't take your child to get mutilated, if they tell you that they're of the opposite sex, that you could be in trouble. These people are not messing around. So how long? These are your kids. These are the kids. These are our children, and not our children the way how Joe Biden says it. And it's not just about the kids too. There's adults who have mental health disorders who need help. Knowing the truth isn't claiming to be a better person or more intelligent person or to be right all the time, but religions aren't morally equivalent, and humility is part of recognizing that. Yeah. And religion too is a practice to get closer to your Lord and spread the word of God. But there's a lot of religions that are spreading their own word. There's a lot of pastors out here where I'm like, oh boy, so it's just a shame. Everything is not that everything is corrupted. It's that there's corrupted people everywhere, but it's okay, because there's good people there too. Okay, there's good people, and sometimes you might say something like, no, I don't believe that's true. I mean, only women can have menstruation. And then sis in the back was like, oh my God, I felt the same way. I'm glad somebody said that. And you start to get people comfortable to start talking. And who knows where it can go. But we're going to be all right. We're going to be all right. A Night Ronan says, great research. I'm lucky to live in Central California, where an oasis in a sea of woke. I live in Seattle. Everything you hear is true, Lord. But we gotta get these places back. This is not, don't worry about labels, oh, you're racist, you're a bigot, you're this, you're that. No. because when you're talking the truth, they're always going to have a label for you. Always going to call you a name. I get called names all the time. You know, I was prepared for this in high school and stuff, and I used to get made fun of and everything. So I'm ready. All right, guys. I'm gonna sign off, guys. It's always good to come talk to you guys. Thank you everybody for your support. I just love this. This is great. Everybody who's watching. My best friend too. She wasn't on the chat, but she was like texting me and stuff. Like, I just really love the support, guys. I see you guys at the Substack. My next Substack will be out by tomorrow, somewhere in the evening. Okay, so because I'm putting in the finishing touches, so somewhere in the evening, my next Substack will be out, where we talk more about this on a spiritual level. All right, guys. I'll see you at the next one. Bye.